Hi guys, so the first thing I'm gonna do is apply this Glow Recipe Watermelon Glow Niacinamide Dew Drops. This will give you an ultimate glow and it'll make your makeup glowy. I absolutely love this because it smells so good, honestly. I think this may be the only product I have from Glow Recipe, but yeah, it's definitely worth the money if you want a good smelling primer. Next, I'm gonna go on with the NARS Natural Radiant Foundation in the shade Minus. I've only used this one other time, but when I did use it, I really like this. So I'm just gonna apply this all over my face. I go in with a good amount of pumps because, I mean, I'm assuming this is already medium to full coverage, but it's probably buildables. Now I'm gonna pounce that in with this beauty blender. I got this beauty blender from like a store in the mall. It's where everything is $1. I can't really think of the name right now. All right, so while we're doing our makeup today, I'm just gonna be talking about things that I've learned in my 20s. I'm gonna go on with this Dior's Forever Skin Correct concealer. This is in the shade 4-5N. I'm gonna go under my eyes with this. So the first thing that I'm gonna talk about is stop spending money on things that you do not need. There is a large group of girls that need to hear that, because I too, I don't want to say I was one of those girls because I'm still struggling with it. Like, especially nowadays, like you just go on TikTok and you see all these people. I don't know what's going on with TikTok, but they're trying to be Amazon or something, because every day I go on TikTok and somebody's selling something new, and then all you have to do is like click on it, swipe, and you know, boom, they make it so easy for you to just spend all your money. I was listening to a Mel Robbins podcast, and she was basically saying like, you have to, if you see something that you want, stop, think about it, save it, put it in your notes. Let some days go by, okay? Let those days go by, and if a week or so goes by and like you still want that thing, then get it, because I mean, you probably really need it, you know what I mean? Or like you really want it. But a lot of the times, like, we make impulse purchases. Like, for example, things that I bought 5 years ago, I can't remember any of those things. Why? Because they did not bring me any value, and they were probably impulse purchases. I will go on Amazon and buy 3 different moisturizers, even though I already have like 3 bottles of unused moisturizer at home. I should be finishing what I have before I just buy things that I don't need right now. Instead, if you are gonna buy things, you should be investing and buying things that will make you more money in return. Now, that is the smart way to go about things. Another reason why you or me might have a spending habit is because you could be feeling sad about a situation, or you could be, I don't know, just feeling upset, bad, whatever, however you're feeling that's negative. And so to cope with that situation, you go on Amazon and just start spending money, or you go on TikTok and just start spending money in the attempt to make yourself feel better. But honestly, that is not going to make you feel better, depending on what you buy. It's not going to make you feel better. Buying that moisturizer, buying that foundation, buying whatever is not going to make you feel better or like solve the problem. It's only helping you cope for that moment. So yeah. And like I said, like invest in, if you are going to spend money, invest in like an ebook, or invest in a course, invest in going back to school, spend your money on business cards, just anything that will help you in return make more money. We don't have time to be being young and reckless with our funds. We work too hard for our funds. We don't need to just blow them. You know what I mean? And in this culture, this day and age, like, overconsumption is the thing. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of the stuff we buy, we don't need. Okay, but can we just have a moment for the Hourglass Concealer? Okay, but the Hourglass Concealer is that girl, okay? I did not know what the girlies were talking about when, you know, I was seeing all this hype around this concealer, but it's creamy, full coverage, like it brightens, it hides dark spots, like it's just amazing. Like I'm literally going to get a second shade in my skin tone and wear that foundation, because do y'all see this? Look, I'm over here telling y'all not to buy stuff, but see, I feel like this is different. You gotta get this. All right, so I'm gonna be going in with the One Size Ultra Pink powder. So the next thing that I've learned in my 20s is to stop being so mean to myself and learn to accept myself in whatever form that I come in. I feel like society is always telling us, and that's why I really need to take a break from like Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, whatever, because society is always telling us what we should and should not do. And I'm honestly so sick of it, because I'm starting to realize it has taken a toll on my self-acceptance and my self-worth. I saw this post the other day on Facebook and it was so dumb. It was like basically saying like girls aren't wearing Michael Kors bags anymore. And it's like, huh? Like, when Michael Kors is a luxury brand, like what's the reason? Like, what, you just all of a sudden Michael Kors is out of style, you know what I mean? And it almost made me want to get rid of like all my Michael Kors, but I was like, I love Michael Kors. But I said, you know what? I set the trends. I set my own trends, you know what I mean? Whatever I like it. It doesn't have to be trendy. Also, further on the topic, you know, I've always had very like high expectations for myself, very extraordinary dreams and goals, and I just had this vision of myself in my head to be this extraordinary person. Like, I always felt like no matter what, I cannot just turn out normal, you know what I mean? Like, I have to be just glamorous, I have to be like amazing, like exceptional, like the next Beyonce, you know what I mean? And I have in my head like, oh, I want this type of car, I want this type of bag, I want this type of this. But it really takes a toll on your self-worth, because it's like, you're not that person yet, at least. You know what I mean? Not saying you can't become that person, but you're not that girl. Well, I am that girl. But I'm saying, like, I'm not that girl that I'm fantasizing in my head yet. So it's like, it kind of makes you feel like you're not enough because you haven't reached that level of success yet. You know what I mean? So when I say I've learned to accept myself in all forms, it means I accept myself no matter how much I have accomplished. Meaning, I may not be making the amount of money that I want yet. I may not be in the house I want yet. I may not have the dream lifestyle I want yet. But that's okay, because who I am, how I look, where I'm at in my life right now is enough. I am extraordinary just for being me. You know what I mean? I don't have to have all these materialistic things to make me great. I'm great as I am. Who said that I had to be extraordinary to be a good person? You know what I mean? Even though it's okay to want these things, you can't let it deter you from feeling good about yourself. All right, so I'm going in with MAC NC47 all over the face, just to give me a flawless all over base. Things that I have learned in my 20s. If somebody didn't ask for your advice, don't give it. Okay, I had to learn this the hard way. A lot of people come to me for advice about, you know, things that are happening. Well, let me not say advice, but they'll call me and they'll just start trauma dumping or just dumping on me about their day, about things that, you know, happened to them that they didn't like or whatever. And oh my God, it's so tempting to be like, girl, just leave him. Like, just leave him. Like, he's no good for you. Why do you stay? He hit you, or he did A, B, and C. Like when they tell, especially because a lot of the times, like, it's about men. And so I get real triggered when that topic comes up, because I know, you know, how tricky and harsh relationships can be. So when women like call me and or girls, they call me and they're like, oh my God, girl, I can't believe what he did. He cheated, he hit me, he did this, da 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 da. You just want to be like, I just automatically feel the need. Like, it just comes over me, like, you know, like a wave, to just be like, to just start blabbing at the mouth and just start giving like this intense advice. And I feel like I give great advice. But the problem there is, you can't give advice to somebody who didn't want the advice in the first place. I've come to learn, when people are telling you their problems, they don't always want advice. Sometimes they just need someone to listen to them. And that's it. They just need someone to listen to them. And so sometimes you just have to be a listening ear. So if you want to know for sure, like, you know, what they're looking for, I mean, you could always ask them, like, hey, like, did you want my advice? But it seems like sometimes people just want someone to vent to, and they just want to be heard. They're not actually coming to you for a solution. And a lot of times what can happen is, like, I've had, like, when I start giving like unwanted advice, that person, like, they'll start getting like defensive of the person that like hurt them, or like, you know, or they'll just start feeling like I'm giving them advice because I feel like I'm better than them or something. Like, I don't know how that happens, but it does. You'd be surprised. Like, you know, they'll just start thinking that I'm being like hypocritical and judgmental, and that I think that I'm better than them or something. Like, it'll just go like completely left. So just to avoid all that altogether, just don't give advice unless that person is saying, hey, so, because I've had people ask me, like, they'll trauma dump or whatever, and then they'll be like, hey, so what do you think about this? Like, what should I do? And then I will proceed to tell them how I feel about the subject. And in my opinion, that is just the best way to do it when it comes to friends, because it will avoid a lot of arguments. But yeah, another thing I have to say to go along with that, if you are the person that is like trauma dumping, which, don't get me wrong, like, if you need to talk to your friend, like, talk to your friend, especially if they're like a really good friend to talk to. But in every situation, it's not always the right thing to do to like go to your friend and like trauma dump. Like, for example, like when I was a teenager, right, I used to end up in some crazy situations, like listening to my friend's advice, because like, you're an idiot and I'm an idiot. So we're just like two idiots giving each other idiot advice. Like, that was not a good idea. Like, so sometimes it is in your best interest, if you really feel like you need to say something, to maybe get a therapist. Because honestly, it was the best decision I ever made to get a therapist, because I don't know, I feel like they are able to give me their unbiased opinion, and it's not influenced by anything else, you know what I mean? And also, like, they're able to, they don't have any emotional ties to me, so they're not worried about, like, you know, hurting my feelings or anything like that. They're going to give it to me raw. They're going to tell me how it is. They're going to tell me what I need to hear. You know what I mean? Because that's what I'm paying them to do. All right, so I finished my eyes, and now I'm going to contour my nose with this Morphe bronzer. And I'm just going to take my beauty blender and go on the sides of that to really pinch it. All right, so the things that I've learned in my 20s, the next thing that I've learned is very important, and that is that you have to put your needs before anyone else's. Now, that is not to say that you just have to be completely selfish. I'm going in with the same Morphe bronzer, by the way, and just bronzing my face. But that is not to say that you have to be completely selfish. It just means, like, if somebody did something that made you feel some type of way, and you don't want to bring it up because you feel like the topic may make that person uncomfortable, which is so crazy, because it's like, that person did something to like hurt you, right? But like, you're afraid to make a big deal out of it, because it's just like, oh, I don't want to hurt their feelings, da, da, da. But it's like, okay, but they hurt your feelings. So it's not out of like revenge that you should say something, but you have to be able to stand up for yourself because you have a need that is not being met. So if you want to stop feeling how you're feeling, you need to speak up and say, hey, what you did hurt me and I'm not going to tolerate this. Or so either you don't want that person in your life, or they're going to have to make some major adjustments in order to meet your needs. You know what I mean? And I have experienced this firsthand where sometimes I don't want to say something, like somebody offended me or they said something that hurt me or made me feel a certain way, or they didn't take my boundaries into consideration. But because I care about so much how you feel, I don't want to bring it up because I don't want to seem bitter, or I don't want to seem like, oh my God, that girl, she always has a problem with something. Like, I'm just like putting how I feel on the back burner and just like keep letting you run all over me. No. This year, no more of that. We have boundaries, okay? It does not matter if you've known this person for years and years and years, if they're a cousin, if it's your mom, your dad, your uncle, your brother. It does not matter, okay? Nobody's needs should ever come before yours. Stop making excuses for other people. I used to have a tendency where I would be like, oh, well, he treated me this way because his mom died, or she treated me this way because she just broke up with her boyfriend. And so now you don't want to make a big deal out of something because it's like they're going through whatever they're going through. But you can still have empathy for people, but they still overstepped your boundaries and a need is still not getting met. So you cannot let that empathy that you are feeling for that person override the fact that you felt the feeling and just automatically put your feeling on the back burner. No, your feelings matter. Your feelings come first. But, you know, don't take that too literal, because don't just be going out here being rude to people all the time. There's a time and a place to say things. Let me say that, because it does not mean you have to come off rude. Don't come off rude. Just, you have to be polite. You have to be patient. Like, sometimes saying it then and there may not be the time. Maybe saying it at a different place, at a different time. Your needs matter. Your feelings matter. Your emotions matter. And you don't need me to validate that. Okay, this is the third video in a row where I forgot to put on liquid blush before I put on the powder. So for the third time, I'm gonna go ahead and put this liquid blush on over the powder because that's the only option we have, because I'm not wiping this off. So I'm gonna put on Pink Lady first. So I'm gonna blend in Pink Lady. Honestly, very pigmented. It's probably the most pigmented blushes that I own. Y'all already know the Juvia's Place Volume 4 is my girl. So the next thing that I've learned in my 20s, and this is very valuable, stop having high expectations of people. Let me say that again. Stop having these high expectations of people. I've had these high expectations of people my whole life because somehow I always forget that, like me, people are human. They are doing the best that they can. Now, some people are not doing the best that they can, but for the most part, people are doing the best that they can. For example, let's say I have a friend, right? And she's not texting me back like all the time. You know what I mean? It's normal. We're adults. I don't text back all the time. Why? Because I have a boyfriend that I tend to. I have a dog. You know, I have to clean the house. I have to work. I have to, you know what I mean? Like, I have things to do. I have responsibilities outside of those friendships. On top of that, that might not be the only friend I have. I have other friends that I have to hang out with and tend to as well. So I'm not going to be able to respond to that one friend every single day. You know what I mean? And I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all can relate to this. We all have other responsibilities. We're doing the best that we can. Even with, let's say, our parents. Our parents may not live up to the expectations that we have of them. A lot of the times we think like, oh, this is our mom, this is our dad. Like, what they say is gospel. Like what they say, like chef's kiss, like there can be no wrong. Like this is like what I aspire to be, especially when we're kids, you know, like this is the only example I have of what an adult is supposed to be, what's supposed to look like. So you just look up, you automatically look to them like they're God or something, you know what I mean? And then as you grow up, you kind of realize, oh snap, like this is what they were like going through. Like the things that I'm going through right now at 23, I'm realizing like this is the stuff that my parent was going through, you know what I mean? So it's like it makes you have more empathy for people when you realize that they are human just like you. A lot of the times we try to put people on this pedestal in our head, like they're just supposed to know this and do that, and no, they don't. They can't be everything to everyone, and so they can't be everything to you, you know what I mean? So not everybody is going to be what you need them to be when you need them to be. Like there might be a season where this friend, like me and this friend, like she's able to be there for me nonstop, but then the month after that, she has more responsibilities she has to handle, and she can't be there for me like that, you know what I mean? But she's doing the best that she can. Now let's not get this confused, because some people, like let's use an example like dating and relationships. Like let's say a man is not texting you back. Okay, well he had his phone, so he could have texted you a little, what you doing, how you doing, do you want something to eat? Like he could have, like if he cared, he would. You know what I mean? Like some people, they literally like that is your sign to just bounce. You know what I mean? Because when things are like fresh, you know, if you're building like a fresh relationship, a new relationship, I mean, I don't know. I feel like that's a different story. But I don't know. Sometimes it is acceptable in dating, but then sometimes it's like, okay, you didn't text me back all day. As a matter of fact, you didn't text me back all week. Like, girl, just go ahead and take that as a sign. Like, he don't like you. He don't like you. I've learned how to be empathetic towards other people and, like, feel empathy. Like, because a lot of times I would be like, okay, how is this person broke? Like, I don't understand. How are you broke? Why are you asking me for money? Like, you know, we make the same amount of money. It's just what you do with your money. Like, you know, I used to not feel any empathy at all for people in their situations. Like, why is this person crying all the time? Get up off your butt and go make it happen. Like, you know, but honestly, I can say there have been some times like I felt like deep sadness, and feeling that amount of sadness, it honestly gives you so much empathy for like people that are just going through it and that are also sad or depressed, because you see how it feels, and it doesn't feel good. Like, let me just say that it's almost like a sense of like hopelessness, like feeling stuck, like you'll never make it out of the situation. Like where you are right now is where you'll be forever, and there's no point. And just being an adult has really shown me that like bad things can happen to anybody. And so now I just have a sense like when someone needs me or just needs a friend, like I feel like I just want to be there for them. Like I've always been that person like that has been empathetic, but when you're an adult, it just hits different. Like it's just like a new level of empathy that you can feel for people, because real life situations, they hit. So I'm just going in with this MAC Studio Fix powder in the color C6. And then I'm just going in with the residue from that angled blush brush. And I'm just kind of going in circular motions and patting motions on the cheeks, but then slightly underneath the eye. And I'm gonna add some more blush, because why not? Okay, why not? If you're a blush lover like me, there's no such thing as too much blush, okay? If you ever get to a point where you're like, I look like a clown, you ain't a blush lover for real, okay? You ain't a part of the gang for real, because there is never enough blush. All right, so I'm gonna add this Hangover Replenishing Primer Spray. Okay, so another thing I wanna say while I'm putting on this mascara, guys, no matter what happens to you in life, because I know like bad things happen, cruel things happen, evil things happen, like really bad things. But never let those things turn you into an evil person. Never let those things like deter you from going out and meeting new people, making friends, falling in love, having kids, starting a family. Like, don't ever let it do that to you, because if you do, you're dying before you get to live the rest of your life. You get what I'm saying? So always remain humble, remain happy, remain positive, encourage other people. Never let your situation turn you evil. That's what the devil wants. All right, so I'm gonna go in with the Juvia's Place Brownie Lip Liner. Then I'm gonna go in with the Juvia's Place Lip Gloss in Coffee Break. I love this lip gloss. It's so good. Yeah. Then I'm gonna go back in with the lip liner. All right, guys, thank y'all so much for watching this video. It means so much to me that you finished it all the way through. I really hope the things that I learned in my 20s was able to help you, or even if it didn't help, I hope that I could have been some comfort just listening to my voice while you sweep or mop or whatever. But yeah, thank y'all so much. Make sure you like this video, comment down below your thoughts or anything that you've learned in your 20s, teens, 30s, 40s, 50s, whatever. Comment down below and engage with each other, because it really helps my video out. And did I say leave a follow? So yeah, like, comment, follow, do your thing. Thank y'all so much for watching, guys, and I'll see y'all on my next video. Bye.